Hey, good evening, guys. I wanted to hop on here and to share a couple of things with you, and I'm going to be very transparent on tonight. And I want to talk to some people that's having a problem with receiving the healing that God desires to release in your life. It doesn't matter if it's emotional, mentally, spiritually, or even physically. Because a lot of y'all probably feel the way that I felt at one point in life when I began to really seek God concerning healing. I thought it would be something that would be quick and something that would be painful. But I found out that that's not always the case. And even walking through some healing, I found out that sometimes healing hurts just as much or even more than what hurt you in the first place. But as I begin to walk through this journey of being healed, I remember God telling me, son, healing can break you before it builds you. And I'm telling y'all, sometimes it hurts more than the thing that wounded you. And that's why I want to be very transparent tonight, because this is the part that nobody talks about. But I'm willing to put myself out there because I know what it means to want to be healed. But in the midst of healing, it's almost like you want to give up because it seems like that the pain is more painful in the process of healing than when it first happened to you. It's almost like when you get a cut and you just put a Band-Aid over it and hope that it gets better on its own. But I found out just because you cover up a thing, it doesn't mean that it's going to heal on its own. And even as having experience in the medical field and in the nursing field, a lot of times when you put a bandage on a wound, hoping that it'll heal on its own, but if you never attend to that wound will eventually get infected. And once that wound begins to be infected, that's when the doctor has to come in and you have to clean it out. And how many of y'all know that pain comes along with the cleaning out of the wound? And I'm telling you, when I begin to cry out, God did the same thing when it came to me. He uncovered some old pain. And I remember the Lord speaking to me. He said, son, if you want to fully heal, I need to deal with this, even if it stings for a while. And as God was beginning to take me on this journey, and God told me, he said, son, when I start healing, that means I have to turn on the lights. And as I was walking through this process, and God would tell me time and time, he said, imagine your heart is like a house. And I really didn't understand what God was saying until he was walking me through the process of healing. And how over time I had the pain, I had the betrayal, I had the shame, I had the fear, I had the rejection. And it's like all of these things piled up like boxes in a hidden room. And it's like I allowed all these things to pile up, and it's like I began to shut the door, thinking that if I didn't see them, I wouldn't feel them. Then that's when I began to cry out, and I began to cry out for healing. But guess what, y'all? When I began to cry out for healing, it wasn't a quick fix. And God showed up like he did for David after David had sinned with Bathsheba. And David wanted forgiveness, y'all. But God first sent Nathan to confront what David was hiding. And you can tell that it was painful. But I'm going to tell you something. God spoke something so profound. And God told me, he said, concerning David, it was the confrontation that was the beginning of his healing. And God told me, he said, son, in order to be healed, you have to first embrace the confrontation. Y'all, it was a painful thing. But through this process, God was telling me, he said, son, I don't expose to embarrass. I expose to restore. And one thing that I've learned, you can't be free from what you pretend isn't there. And as God began to walk me through this process, I realized that God just didn't want the bandage over the wound. He wanted to remove it. He wanted to do a cleansing. He wanted to get rid of the spiritual infection. Y'all, he began to uncover things in me that I didn't know were still bleeding. Just like when he asked Adam, where are you? It wasn't because God didn't know. It was because Adam needed to face where he really was. God is talking to somebody tonight. Because as I'm sitting here, I hear the Spirit of the Lord say, healing belongs to you. But one thing that I come to tell you tonight, healing may belong to you, but you're going to have to be willing to open up and not only receive it, but you're going to have to embrace it. And as I begin to go on this journey of being healed, y'all, it meant letting go of some things that I thought that I needed. And when God started to walk me through this process, he started separating. He started separating me from people, places, and things. Separation felt like a loss. I didn't understand that while I was going through it. God told me, he said, son, you thought it was a loss, but it was only a preparation. When I thought about that, my mind went to Gideon. When he thought that he needed 32,000 soldiers to win the battle. But God got him down to only 300. Why? Because a lot of times what we think or what you think you need and what God knows what you need are two different things. I'm telling y'all, I went through this separation because God removed people. He removed places. He removed certain patterns from my life. He removed the people and the places that were toxic. And I remember God telling me, I got to bring the separation in the midst of healing, because you can't carry the old into the new. And I remember the Lord speaking this, and my mind went to Lot's wife. Many times, y'all, I was tempted to look back. But God told me, He said, it's no season to look back. Because healing is meant to move you forward. Even though I didn't understand what God was fully doing, but I had to trust Him enough. I have to trust. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I want to talk to somebody's spirit, because you're fighting the very thing that God is wanting to release to you, which is healing. And as I was continuing on this journey, it was painful, y'all. And I think one of the most painful things when it comes to healing is when God take you back to revisit the thing that caused the pain, that caused the wound, that caused the rejection, that caused the depression. But what I hear the Spirit of the Lord say, healing is yours. And I thought it was just about healing, y'all, but even in the midst of healing, God began to stretch me in every way possible that He was able to stretch me. Think about Joseph. God gave Joseph a dream, but before he saw it come to pass, he was thrown in the pit. He was sold as a slave. Y'all, he was falsely accused. He was in prison. And I can imagine Joseph saying to himself, that's not what purpose looked like, based upon his perspective. But what it was doing, y'all, it was preparing him for his purpose. And I'm telling you, I begin to cry out to the Lord. I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, you got to help me understand this healing process. And as the Lord began to talk to me and walk me through some things, I understood that healing meant I had to grow in ways I didn't even ask for. It meant trusting God when I couldn't trace Him. It was almost like I felt the way that Job felt. Job said, though he slay me, yet will I still trust him. My question to you tonight, are you willing to trust God? Even though you may be feeling like, though he's slaying me, I'm still gonna trust him. I'm still gonna believe that he loved me enough that he's going to heal and not hurt me. And just think about, y'all, just like a physical therapy, when it hurts to restore movement. And how many of y'all know that spiritual healing hurts too? But a lot of times, it seems like if you ever been to a place and you went to a physical therapy, it seems like they're causing more pain than you had when you went into therapy. But if you really understand it, the pain was only proof that healing was happening. Y'all, it was a place where I almost gave up. But every time that I wanted to give up, I always thought about Jesus. He was the perfect one. He knew not sin. He suffered. He was betrayed by Judas. He was denied by Peter. He was abandoned by friends. He was beaten. He was mocked. He was even nailed to the cross. And after all of that, he bared the scars. And every time I wanted to give up, I just thought about him. That of Jesus, the one that died and the one that was resurrected, had scars. Why did I expect my healing to be scar-free? And I remember Paul saying in Philippians 3:10, that I may know him. Not that I may know of him, but that I may know him in the fellowship of his suffering. And as God was walking me through this, he would tell me at times, your pain is not your punishment. It's your partnership with my son. And God would have to remind me, son, I'm not destroying you. I'm just developing you. And even the scars that I carry now, they remind me of my weakness, but it also reminds me of God's strength. And what I'm sharing tonight, y'all, it's not about how strong I was. It's about how faithful God was while walking me through the process. So what do you mean? was able to make it through. Because I was willing to stay close to God as He was walking me through some painful moments. I didn't turn my back on God, but I trusted God. Trust the God of the process. Almost like Noah, who built the ark before there was a drop of rain. Y'all, it wasn't an easy process. It was a process where at times I had to press like the woman with the issue of blood. I got tired. I got weak. I was judged, but I was determined. Just like the woman with the issue. But the thing with her, y'all, she just didn't get healed. She was made whole. Why? Because she didn't quit. She didn't stop pressing. Thank God, y'all, that even as He was walking me through the process of being healed, God spoke something so profound that I'll never forget. And God told me, son, I'm not trying to break you. I'm rebuilding. And I remember the Lord telling me, son, I know it's painful. I know it's uncomfortable. But He said, know one thing. This is not your end. It's your foundation. And I just want to tell a couple of people on this one. God is not trying to break you. He's wanting to rebuild you. This is not your end. It's your foundation. Think about Peter, the one who denied Jesus 3 times and still became the rock of the church was built on. And even through this healing process, even a lot of times when we make mistakes, when we fall, God still has a future for us. And I just want to talk to some people. You may be right in the place that I'm talking about this. But I want to encourage you. If Ruth found purpose after loss, if David was restored after failure, if Esther found courage when she was afraid, if Elijah rose after being depressed, but most of all, if Jesus conquered death, then you too can be healed. And I just want to tell you on this morning, don't give up because you've been wounded. Don't give up because God is doing a healing in your life. Don't walk away just because it seems like the process it's taking too long. Don't doubt what God is doing just because you don't feel it or you don't see it. And I remember God telling me, he said, son, I do not waste pain. I use it. And I just want to encourage you. The same God who healed Ruth, David, Esther, Elijah is the same God that has the ability to heal you. And I just want to encourage you. Allow God to do what he wants to do as far as healing. You can make it. You can rise again. And you'll be just like me. One day be able to look at those scars and say, this is proof that God was with me the whole entire time. Y'all continue to pray my strength and share this. Because once again, I hear the Spirit of the Lord say, healing belongs to you. Love you guys and enjoy the rest of your morning.